Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Freaky's podcast. I am Ivan David, and we're going to present an interesting topic. Have you ever heard something similar like this? No. Okay. Nowadays, a lot of people know about podcasts, but do you know why the podcast was invented? Well, let me explain you what the podcast is. Could you make another? Firstly, what is a podcast? Could you make two clicks? As you know, a podcast is a digital medium that consists of episodes related to a specific topic. Then, when the podcast was created, will you make two clicks? Another. Okay. The concept of podcast arose from the article The Guardian by the journalist Ben Hammerson. Is that person in 2004. Indeed, uh, the word podcast is a contraction of iPod, this article to this, this tool to listen music of iPod to Apple, and the verb broadcast. Could you make another business? Now, what was the podcast created for? On that day in 2004, it was a simple innovation that helped to radio stations to broadcast their programs in a delayed basis. Currently, I would like to ask to some of you, classmates, you, as an English learners, have you used podcast as a tool to learn English? For example, you, maybe you. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Now, we can play podcasts in our mobile phone, tablets, or computer with internet access. And no matter what age we are, because the podcast helps to our learning process. Could you make okay? Now, learning through podcast. In this point, there are benefits and challenges. Some benefits are that the podcast can we show can we show us a language model and we can hear the natural language the speakers speak. Also, we can get new vocabulary and ability to adapt to new varieties. This is because the podcast the podcast offers us how the speakers speaks around the world, how the speakers um, show us how the people of all the nationalities speaks. Some challenges are understanding new vocabulary and the language level. This is because the speakers may use uh, uh, may use words, concepts, or maybe phrases that are unfamiliar for us. And the language level in the podcast may be used too high or maybe advanced for us or for another learners. But if we break this challenge, if we can achieve the, these, these challenges, we can get improved our learning skills. We can get another click, please. I am going to read for you this phrase. This is an interesting phrase that I can this article. So it says, since students cannot expect to learn the norms of every global English variety, they need the ability to adapt to new varieties they have never heard before. This is an interesting phrase that, that is about that I say that I said about. Could you make this? Okay. Could you release the answer? Release. Takita when akan tibiyo ko ng gave us 6 tips to help us in our learning process. These tips are very interesting, very helpful. And now I'm gonna explain. The first tip: shorten the podcast. Many of the podcasts are 15 or 20 minutes long, and this tip says that we have to listen just a shortened portions of that podcast. For example, I listen, for example, one podcast about entertainment. For example, you just need to listen by part to understand what the speaker said. The tip two: listen repeatedly. Also, this point is important. And if you don't understand the first time you listen this podcast, you can listen repeatedly again to get the idea the speaker said, or to understand what words are the speaker saying. Now, slow down the audio. Uh, the podcast apps have the option that offers slow down the audio the podcasts are hearing. Also this point is important because if you don't understand what the speaker saying or the speaker are speaking very fast, if you put the audio in slow speed, you can hear the speaker by the word by word the speaker are saying. Now, the tip number 4, the simple task. To understand better what speakers are saying, we can have a simple task or a simple activity to focus on that speaker what's saying, to understand the idea the speaker are saying. The tip number 5, guiding questions. The guiding questions help us to get a call, to get the answer. The question is about the podcast. And the sixth tip, the graphic organizers. If we make a chart or a table, um, we can put in that chart the information the speaker gave us. For example, if in this if in the podcast there are some words that we cannot understand, we can put the words in that table in that chart and make a research to understand what the word is. Also, we can add new information about the podcast and understand better. All six tips are very useful in that podcast here. We can combine all these to get a new understand to get new understanding in the podcast. I want to say that in the podcast there are many speakers that talk in different ways, and if we use these tips to we use these tips if we use these tips, we can help us in our in our learning process, and we can get very successful. Would you? My experience with podcasts. I personally don't listen podcasts, and I know that there are video podcasts in YouTube, but they are not attractive for me. Now, as a conclusion, after to read this article, I I get a new opportunity to put in practice these tips uh, that I said that the authors gave us to put in practice and achieve now my learning process, and not also for me, also for you too. And in the future, when we will become a teachers, we can put we can share these points, these tips to our students to, to listen, to improve their listening in our students. Thank you.